then too? Okay, 2 computers. Well, first I'm going to start talking a little bit about, like, we're going to talk about Naviance and the purpose. This is like the middle of the presentation slide where I'm stuck. Sorry, guys. So Naviance, have any of you guys logged on to Naviance that you can remember? No. You guys may have. In the past, we've asked you to do some surveys in Naviance in like some of your classes, or when we did scheduling. There have been times where we've asked you guys to do surveys in Naviance. It is software that is paid for by DCPS, and I have a lot of windows open. How do we turn off the screen so I don't see everything I've got in how do we turn this off so that everybody doesn't see everything on my screen? Or can we unplug this for just a second? Sorry, guys. Okay, and so Naviance is paid for by DCPS. It is software that is available to you during high school, but not after high school. That's just sort of important to know if, say, you want to transfer schools once you start college, that kind of thing, you won't still have this software available to you. What the software does, there are sort of 2 main purposes that I see with Naviance. And the first one is for college research, career exploration, being able to see what options are out there for you. And then the second is it is like a document management system that assists you in your college application process and assists the school. Only you and DCPS staff can see what is in Naviance. Colleges cannot see what is in Naviance. We send materials through the Naviance software to colleges for your applications, but know that whatever you put in Naviance cannot be seen outside of DCPS and yourself. Any questions so far? The other thing you guys may have noticed is sometimes when you get emails from counselors or Miss Arrington, it might say Naviance mailer in the email address. That's because information in Naviance comes directly from Aspen. Whatever email address you use as your login to Aspen is the email address that is listed as the student email address. So thank you, Mr. Thompson. So we go back here. There we go. So just so you guys know, if you want a different email address to be used, you got to change your Aspen. So there is career search and inventory. We're going to take a little look at that. There's a college search engine. You can keep your college lists in here. This college search engine is a good one, but none of them are perfect. I do recommend that if you're using multiple college search engines, that you save the colleges you're interested in all in Naviance still. So let's say you're using Big Future from College Board. I still want you to save the colleges that you find in there in your college interest list in Naviance, and I'll tell you why in a second. And then, at the school level, we manage school-based college application materials. And so, you're going to let us know through Naviance where you are applying to school in the fall or the winter. And then we know at the school level where to send your materials. You get to manage your teacher recommendations, which I'll talk about later today. And you can see the status of your requested materials. So when you apply to college, you're going to have your transcript sent, you're going to have recommendations sent. And you can see the status in Naviance. And then we ask you to update your status. So when you hear back from a school, we want to know what happened. Did you get a response? Were you waitlisted? All the information that you report back for the schools that you are applying to is really helpful for not just for us to know what options you have available to you. If you have 5 acceptances, we know that you got 5 acceptances and are going to be making a decision about one of those. And if it is, but it also is helpful for future generations of Wilson Tigers to know, because I'm going to show you some of the historical information that you guys can use in your application. So, can you do the next slide for me? Thank you. Okay, so now I want all of you guys, we're going to try logging on. I want you guys to go to the Wilson website. I hope you all know where this is. It's wilsonhs.org. And DC changed the way we access Naviance. If you would logged on your freshman year, this access is a little bit different. So now we're using something called Clever. But the easiest way to find it is to go to Wilson's website and scroll all the way to the bottom. We've got some quick links here. And one of them says Naviance. And it looks like a lot of you guys are already, instead of searching it, there's lots of Wilson High Schools in the corner. Make sure that they are. All the way to the bottom. Okay, so from here, the next thing you're going to see is the Clever login. Have any of you guys been using Clever in your classes? Okay, well, welcome to Clever. You'll see this screen when you get on, and it's your student and staff login, which is your Microsoft login, which is your sort of everything, your Canvas login, all of those other things. Side note, tomorrow, the login that you've been using with your birth date is going to ask you to change your password to something unique. So take note of that. Don't forget your password. I don't have access to Canvas. I don't know how you guys will have to be resetting it if you forget your password. There will probably be some sort of process. But it is the same credentials you use for other DCPS products. And then once you're in, I wasn't able to show a screenshot, although can we go to the next page? I wasn't able to show a screenshot. Have you guys been able to find the Naviance link within Clever? Anybody having trouble with that? Oh, you're in. Okay. Okay, try going to college and career. Some students have reported different ways of getting to the links. Do you have any, Miss Aaron? Oh, there it is. It's a green. It's like this. It's this color icon, and it just says Naviance in really small letters. Yep, that's right.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, there you go. I was like, how do I come at this way?
Sometimes this is the hardest part, is getting everybody on the same page. Yeah. Oh, tomorrow. students.k12.uc.edu. Okay, I think most of you guys have found the Naviance login, so it looks like this screen when you get there. There are different features within Naviance. In fact, sometimes students will find something new before the staff do, so feel free to explore this as much as you like beyond this session and let us know what you find. So once you're logged in, what you'll see is this is like the top half of the screen. And it's got, you know, presets your favorites as colleges I'm thinking about, colleges I'm applying to, and then other like career clusters and things that you're thinking about. There's also, if you want to look up just an individual school, let's say you've been doing some research or you were talking to somebody that said, oh, University of Boston is so great, I gotta look it up. You can just type it up and this is like a quick link. This will become more and more helpful, I think, as we move in towards the fall for you and you're thinking about different schools. And then also, don't ignore the links up at the very top. You'll find over time that we're asking you to go more and more deeper into the program. And so that's going to be the easiest way to get to some of those links. So I'm going to talk about some of the features I would like for you guys to explore this morning while we're going through this. And can we go to the next slide? Okay, so this first one is called Find Your Fit. And so from the welcome screen, if you go up to that top little tab that says colleges, and you pull it down, you're gonna see Find Your Fit gives you different options. SuperMatch, College Match, College Events, Scattergrams, Advanced College Search, and College Lookup. And these are different types of ways that you can look at or for colleges. So let's say that you want to find a college based on certain criteria. Let's say you, I don't know, does anybody play a sport here? Would you play?
Lacrosse.
Lacrosse. So let's say you want to look for colleges that have lacrosse and environmental science programs. You can go into SuperMatch and put those as delimiters. And then maybe, you know, you've had some conversation with your folks and they're like, oh, we'd really like for you to stay, you know, within a 6-hour drive of DC. So then you can also limit like which states maybe that you want to look at and different ways that you can make that smaller. College Match is taking the information in Naviance that's being pulled from ASPA, such as your GPA, and looking at the information that's already in there and how you match with different colleges. The college events, Ms. Harrington, is the college events the visits?
Yes.
So
whenever colleges have put any kind of events up there, they usually have them in that tab.
And so that part is managed by Naviance, not by us. The Scattergrams I'm going to go over in a minute. And then the Advanced College Search, I think has some similarities with SuperMatch. For me personally, SuperMatch is my favorite one to play in, but I want you guys to try and see what's best for your purposes. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so when you get into SuperMatch, this is where you start. And you'll see that there are things that they allow you to move it into different categories, like what you must have and what would be nice to have. So if Simon must have an environmental science program, but it would be nice to have club lacrosse, that could allow him to do searches in that way. And you'll see at the top here, they've got like the different kinds of criteria that are probably the most common ones that students are looking at. Academics, location, student life, diversity, other institutional characteristics. You can look at cost, athletics, and other types of resources. Any questions so far? Comments? Has anybody played in this yet? Any of you guys ever been to this one before? That's what we're going to do today. Okay, next. So then the college match, you'll see that, again, from the information that's already in there about you, you've got colleges looking for students like you. colleges that other students like, right? What are the popular colleges? And then colleges that have accepted students that look like at least the data profile that you have on Naviance. This is nothing to hang your hat on totally. If a college that you're interested in doesn't show up in these for you, that doesn't mean that it's not a college for you. But if you are a student going into this where you're like, oh, I'm starting as a blank slate, I don't even know where to start, can be somewhat of a starting point for you to start thinking about different kinds of schools. And I think you'll see a diversity of institutions on there. Any thoughts or questions so far? Just stay quiet. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And next, when you go to a college, if you type in a college, in fact, let's all do this. Can you guys go ahead and type in a college that you've heard of before that's interesting to you? I've got American University as my example up here, but you guys can type in any college that's interesting to you. And sometimes you're going to see that when you type something in, more colleges than you expected pop up. So if you type in American University, AU down the street isn't the first one that shows up in alphabetical order. I think it's like the American University of Beirut or something that shows up first. So that's another thing to note, that sometimes campuses have similar names. So there's multiple trinities around the country and in other countries that will show up in your search. And then some schools have multiple campuses. One of an example of that might be University of Maryland, because it's University of Maryland in College Park, University of Maryland, Baltimore County, University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, etc. So you want to make sure that you're choosing the school that you believe that you're interested in. Okay, so once you're on that, and if you go to this up at the top, admissions, you're going to see if students from Wilson have applied to this school before. Does anybody want to share, under high school application history, a school that they looked up if they can see that there are other students from Wilson that have applied there? Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah, what school is it?
I look at Morehouse College.
Morehouse, okay. How many students applied this year?
At least it was 2020, but 6 applied, 5 got accepted, and 5 enrolled.
Okay. What do you think about that, since that was a school that was of interest to you?
That's nice. Oh, in 2021, 9 applied. I just peeked up.
Oh, okay. Okay, so in 2020, 20 students applied, and many of them got in. And then some of the ones, so now, in this data, you'll see, like, if we can look at 2020 for AU, 34 applied, 15 were accepted, but of those 15, 8 decided to do something else. 8 did not go to, which you'll see, because you guys are likely going to do that too. If you get 3 acceptances, you can only attend one of those schools. So some of the schools, which is why the data feedback is helpful for us. And you can also see it over time if a school has gotten more or less popular. Does anybody else want to share what they found for their school that they researched? Simon, who did you look up?
I looked up University of Southern California.
Okay. And what did you find?
In 2021, 21 students from Wilson applied.
Wow. Okay. Their acceptances may not be in there yet. What about the year before? Did anybody apply the year before?
Yes. 2020, 27 applied.
Wow. And how many got in? Does it say?
It does not say.
Okay. What about 2019?
2019, 17 people applied, and it still does not say.
Oh. It may be that nobody reported admission there. that could be the case. And then if we go to the next slide, if you don't mind. Okay, so this is a scattergram. As you guys scroll down, you're going to see scattergrams. Scattergrams, as you get used to looking at these, can be a faster way to kind of assess where you are in terms of the other students who have applied there. So again, this is AU. On your screen, you're going to see a little icon that says that that's you. And you is, again, based on the data that they have. Many of you have not taken the SAT yet, or your scores have not been recorded in our system, so it may be looking at PSAT data. It's a little bit off, frankly, right now. is usually updated, when report cards are updated, give or take a day or two. So it's your cumulative GPA that they're looking at, not a year GPA. And you'll see here that for AU, and the average student has like a 3.86 GPA, so that's this top line. And then there, it's like 12, 10, I think is the SAT average score here. And that, so the average student, like if you meet this target right here with this GPA and this is a target school for you, right? You're like right on the X. But you're gonna see their green checks that show students who applied and got admitted. That are above and below, inside and outside these lines. And then you're gonna see red X's of students who did not get admitted. Mostly inside the lines, but notice there's some others that didn't make it either, right? And we don't know why. We just know that this is anonymous info. If you chose an institution, however, that not very many Wilson students have applied to, because this is only Wilson students, this data will not exist for you. So, possibly like a University of Montana, we don't have very many students applying to University of Montana. If it's less than 5 or 6 students, Naviance doesn't publish that because you might be able to identify, oh, that X is my friend. That check is my friend, right? So there has to be a certain amount of data for them to show it to you. How are you guys navigating? What do you guys think about this? Good, bad, intimidating, helpful? Yeah? Okay. So what are some things that you think could be reasons why some students didn't get admitted even though they had higher grades or scores? Their essay, maybe their essay wasn't helpful to them.
No extracurriculars and stuff.
Maybe they didn't have extracurriculars or other activities. What about the students who were below the average of the student that did get admitted? What do you think some of the things might have been that supported them? It might be a really good essay, a good interview. Every once in a while too, you'll see a wild card green check. And that can be one of two things. Because these are student reported, a student could have reported that, and we don't know if they really got in or not. Or very occasionally, it might be a recruited student athlete. So kind of keep that in mind.
It could also be a first-gen student. So it's a lot of times, sometimes the schools are trying to become more diverse and they're accepting to first-gen minority students. It could be a student on a particular scholarship, so that's why it would be below that line as well.
Right. Okay. Any more thoughts about scattergrams? All right, well, this is one last slide. I have an activity for you guys to do. And it's I want you guys to complete 3 college searches using different criteria, using any of the search options that are available. I want you to save at least 3 of those colleges and colleges I'm thinking about. And then I want you to ask questions, share with your neighbors, see what this process does for you. One thing I will say too, in colleges I'm thinking about, if they are saved in your count, colleges I'm thinking about, if that college comes to visit Wilson, which a lot of colleges come to visit Wilson, you will get an email that they are coming, is it, Ms. Arrington, is it the day before?
24 hours before.
24 hours before, you'll get a notification. So even though there's messaging about colleges coming to visit, sometimes that gets a little bit lost. So this is a helpful way. If there are any schools that you might be interested in, please put those on your list. So I'm gonna let you guys, yes?
Does the notification come in Naviance or do they get a separate email? And do the
As
parents get
long as
notified
they
as well?
have, and it goes to the email they use to sign into Aspen.
But it also sits up in their Naviance account too, but that's the email that they use, so it goes directly to their Gmail account or
Okay, so
whatever
they'll-
account they,
Yeah.
but
And does it
sits
go to
in-
the parents too or just
Just
all
the
to the students?
Mhm.
Oh, the International Baccalaureate, it's like an AP type thing, we don't have it at Wilson. in here. I think that you're gonna wanna go to some of these college visits a lot. Specifically, because each college is gonna have a different policy on
Yeah.
colleges. Yeah, nobody knows yet, but it's worth asking, right? The other thing is let's say you don't get into the one that you applied to this time, there will be an opportunity, I think, in October to apply to the OSSI and UBC dual enrollments.
Oh, that's what I'm doing, the care program.
Okay,
I applied to that recently.
okay, well, if they don't have a spot for you this time, you may get a spot for the spring, so.
Applying since months ago, I can't remember, since sophomore year.
Oh, okay.
I've been trying to get in there for so long.
I know, there's those limited spots are hard. Checking it out. Good, good.
Yeah.
How's it going over here?
Good. I have a trash ass piece. It's 860. I did my drop out.
Sometimes it takes some practice to get, that's why we're taking this time to do it. It's easy for me to say, oh, go do it, and you're sitting at home. We're forcing you guys to do something while you're sitting with us.
So temporary. Wait, but
Which part? Oh, acceptance rate? Yeah, that means that only 8% of people who apply get accepted. Yeah. So that, for any student, we would call that a reach.
Yeah.
Right? But you know some of the benefits of applying, yeah, and you can understand why. How's it going over here?
Good, I can't find all the different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't answer all of the stuff.
You want, which one? You want University of Southern California?
Yes.
So type in University of Southern California. See what happens. And what's interesting is that different ones show up that are all still on that same campus. See how there's like the dramatic arts and school music and everything. This is, I think, the one you want. Where do you find yourself? Oh, you're in the career part.
Yeah, I'm looking, I didn't want to go by the school, or
Mhm.
people thought it was my school. I want something that was more tailored to what I want.
I was at the university of Vermont.
I'm looking into like, knowing more about
Some either
science,
accepted.
type of thing, like different economy, or artificial ways to that. I guess people are
It's called like that. It's called
I want to find something and then find if there's any.
I mean, I wasn't going to school anyway.
Well, this may be
I don't know if that's college or not. I probably want to.
a bit of a longer way to get this and stuff over what this will show you first is kind of some different ways that the workforce like supports different skills needed.
Who worked with us?
It's not letting me go there. Oh, I see. There's these other things too. The important part, right? So, ooh, whoa.
I know,
But you have to have an MD to get there. So you do have to go to medical school. But wow.
a lot of them make, most of them have like a good wage.
Mm-hmm.
And average, this is a good average.
That's a yeah.
So
Well, and in DC, okay, so in DC that's
I'm
that.
a little
good average.
Oh yeah.
I think that's
I'm a little Harvard.
But you have to go to medical school to get that.
Oh, yeah.
So let's say you had to work before you got to medical school, you might be doing something that's, like different types of like.
Would you get like a shadow for somebody in master's already?
still have to get all the credentials.
No, I know that, but like,
Yeah.
they give you like recommendations to like,
They, that would be better for either a scholarship or once you're in. For just these initial college applications, the colleges wanna see your teacher's recommendations.
I just it started kind of like I was
No, it's good to see.
Oh
See
yeah.
how you compare,
So
right?
yeah, I did look at
It doesn't mean you won't go there.
it's connected to the thing, but I'm like so my first plan, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That doesn't go through. Try to go to like 100 college.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
and just get my grades and my safety up. Do you think I'm still able to like
I don't know. I said their admissions are so tricky
Yeah, I know.
and specific. I want you to look
Yeah,
also
so-
at the Coast Guard Academy.
oh
What do you think?
I mean like no, I've heard of it.
Yeah,
It's just
same kind of tuition situation.
yeah.
Still working on a boat.
Yeah.
And a little bit easier admissions.
Yeah. And I'm also looking for like business colleges.
Okay.
Just if that doesn't go through, I can go to college.
Yeah.
And I just had this because I'm looking at stocks.
And the
like
Merchant Marine Academy.
that too, but you need to be able to go to officer first to be able to go there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we need to be able to go to like Air Force Academy or any of the force to be able to go to
Before Merchant.
yeah. It's just like yep. And I've just been dealing with stocks as of right now I just need 300 bucks.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
That'll pay for a couple of applications.
No, you should.
What do you guys
I
so
mean, I
far
don't
think
know.
is helpful about this? Or do you have any tips for your neighbors? You guys are the best teachers. Part of the reason why I'm excited about this program is I feel like you guys can help other students too. You're a little bit of our guinea pigs, but also you guys can
Yes.
be sending the message out to the others.
honestly, I would say that not only can you look up colleges, but you can look up the careers in particular with what you want. To be specific about.
To be specific?
Specific, yeah. About what you want and looking at like wages and like the latest wage.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really good. And then you can go about like choosing colleges from there, or you can just go to the college based on career, that's like only for that. Yeah.
You like being able to search that way. Well, one of the things that I often share, and you've heard me say this like 5 times already, my apologies, but during your senior year in particular, you guys get a lot of conversation from the grown-ups in your life around what are you going to do for college? Where are you applying to college? Where have you gotten into college? And it's really frustrating. If you don't, sometimes you have to educate the grown-ups because the process is different than when we applied. The process is different possibly when your older siblings apply. And, things like, you go for your winter break, you see family members, and they say, so where are you going to college? And you're like, no, I don't know yet. Like, I'm stressed out about it. Like, this isn't how this works. So sometimes you guys are going to be educating the adults in your life about how this works. But, and then they might say, oh, you should, they say to you, oh, mid-March, oh, did you find my alma mater? Like, you should really go. You're like, no, your alma mater's deadline was January 15th. I can't apply now. So, just you guys being able to hold this information and be knowledgeable about it is important. I'm sure many of you guys have your parents tightly along for the ride. or other invested adults in your family. But like I said, it's different every year. And this year, I think we're all gonna learn